Two massive wide receiver trades in the NFL on Tuesday, and the Tennessee Titans need to be next. I'll explain on today's edition of Locked On Titans.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you're going to get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Tennessee Titans need to trade DeAndre Hopkins right now. I'm going to tell you what they should expect back in that trade. Also, we'll talk about some other Titans that might need to be traded as well. And finally, I got a Roland rant cooked up for you guys on why Will Levis has not regressed this season. We were all just wrong. Before I get into it, I do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. You're not going to beat that anywhere else. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. Speaking of every day, on tomorrow's show, time for Crossover Thursday with Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. We're going to get you ready for that game. I'm going to have my game preview, and I'll be live here after the game concludes on Sunday to break down all the action as well. With that being said, though, I know that some of you don't want to hear it, and I don't really care because you are wrong. The Titans need to trade DeAndre Hopkins right now. And there are going to be plenty of opportunities to do it with teams out there that need wide receiver help. And we saw two massive wide receiver trades take place on Tuesday in the NFL that set the stage and set the precedent for what the Titans should be looking for. First, Davante Adams on Tuesday morning gets traded to the New York Jets for a conditional third-round pick that becomes a second-round pick if the Jets go deep into the playoffs and Davante Adams plays enough snaps. Then, in the afternoon, we get a massive trade where Amari Cooper goes from the Cleveland Browns to the Buffalo Bills. They're going to swap third-round picks in 2025, and then there's also some late-round picks, 2026 seventh-round pick, 2026 sixth-round pick that are going back and forth, but it's a third-round swap, okay? This sets the stage perfectly for the Titans to trade DeAndre Hopkins. Everything is in place now. We know what the price is going to be. We know what teams are expecting. And that is why, for me, you look at a DeAndre Hopkins trade, the Tennessee Titans should be looking to get at least a fourth-round pick back. If they wanted to do a third-round pick, and the Titans say the Titans get their third-round pick back from Kansas City. I think Kansas City is a prime team to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Baltimore Ravens are a team that should trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that should trade for DeAndre Hopkins. But the Tennessee Titans traded their third-round pick to get L'Jarius Sneed. If they can go to Kansas City and say, give us our third-round pick back from the L'Jarius Sneed trade, we'll give you a sixth-round pick in return. Think the Titans traded Elijah Molden, and they have extra late-round picks because of that. They traded Malik Willis, and they have extra late-round picks because of that. The Titans can afford to say, okay, Kansas City, you give us our third-round pick back, and it's going to be a late third-rounder. Kansas City is fantastic. We know that they're going to have a late-round pick. We're still going to get a top 100 pick back. What would it be? 96, 95, 94, 93, somewhere in there. So the Titans get a top 100 pick back, and then the Titans can send a sixth or a seventh round pick back to Kansas City to make that feel a little bit better. A fourth round pick for me after seeing these two trades is the minimum for DeAndre Hopkins, and the Titans could get a third round pick back if they throw in a late round pick of their own, sixth or seventh. I would be fully on board for that. And not only am I fully on board, it absolutely has to happen. Listen, it is time to wake up. The Titans made a massive mistake last year not trading Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens in the middle of the season. And then what? Derrick Henry goes to Baltimore for free anyways, and the Titans get nothing back. They cannot make that mistake again. They simply cannot. They need to trade DeAndre Hopkins, accept their fate. The Titans are 1-4. They're going on the road to play Buffalo and Detroit next. The Tennessee Titans are not winning those football games. All right? They're going to be 1-6 at the end of October. Do not fool yourself into thinking that the Titans can turn this thing around and make the playoffs. It's over. They had to win against the Colts. They had to win that game to give them any hope whatsoever to turn this thing around. It is not happening. It is time to sell the assets that you have and get back as much draft capital as you possibly can to prepare yourself for retooling the team in the offseason. It is that simple. And do a good solid for DeAndre Hopkins and send him to a contender. And here's the thing. DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent at the end of the year. He is going to leave for nothing. So what? The Titans go 4-13 or 5-12? And what's that for? What? We kept DeAndre Hopkins around for that? Why? The Titans can't get the ball to him or Calvin Ridley anyways. So why would they keep Hopkins around? Hopkins did great for the Titans last year. It's been a pleasure having DeAndre Hopkins on the team, but it's over. The season is over. It is time to sell what you can and get draft picks back. And if the Titans can get a 4th-round pick back, if the Titans can go to Kansas City and get their 3rd-round pick back, they absolutely must do that. No question about it. Again, DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent at the end of the year. He is going to leave for nothing at the end of the season. If you can get something back for him right now and do right by him, which you should for your veteran players, that is what the Tennessee Titans should be doing. DeAndre Hopkins must be traded. And now with Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams setting the stage and setting the price range, the Titans know what they should be getting back for DeAndre Hopkins. They have to make that move. Period. No question about it. Let me know down below or hit me up on Twitter at TicTacTitans. Let me know what you would accept for a DeAndre Hopkins trade. And I know some people are going to say, well, aren't they trying to get a look at Will Levis? Wouldn't having DeAndre Hopkins make it easier to do that? We have the look. We have the look. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show when I explain to you why Will Levis is not regressed under Brian Callahan. He has not regressed. He just is who he is. But first, we got to talk about some other veteran players on the Titans who I think need to be on the trading block as well. Before we do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. And it is the most fun way to play daily fantasy sports as well. It's probably why they have over 10 million members and have awarded billions of dollars in winnings. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your season or run your game all season long on Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks because it's so simple. Think about it. Justin Jefferson, 83.5 receiving yards. Patrick Mahomes, 250.5 passing yards. Tyreek Hill, 90.5 receiving yards. Saquon Barkley, 50.5 rushing yards. Those are just mock examples, but all you do is pick 2 to 6 players and say more or less. Make sure that you download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's PrizePicks. Download the app. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. It's PrizePicks. Run your game. Titans fans, let's continue today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about why the Titans need to trade DeAndre Hopkins right now and what they should be looking for in a trade for D-Hop. Now I want to talk about some other trades the Tennessee Titans need to consider. And look, I don't want to absolutely gut this team, but the reality is this team is going nowhere fast this year. And they need to get younger players in the building and start to draft and develop going forward. And they might need to make a move for a quarterback in the draft. So having some extra draft ammo to do that is only going to help you get the guy that you actually want. But before we talk about some other veterans who the Titans should consider trading, and I'll tell you yes or no on some of these names, do want to thank you again for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day, Monday through Friday. Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Get subscribed, stay subscribed, throw a thumbs up on the video, throw a Titan up down in the chat. Also, on the Tic Tac Titans film channel, I did a film breakdown on L'Jarius Sneed's poor performance against the Colts, but I have a film breakdown coming out on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time on Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who had a fantastic game against the Indianapolis Colts. So have some positivity in your Titans life and check out that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. film breakdown. But I talk about DeAndre Hopkins because he is the most likely candidate to be traded. He is the number one guy, in my opinion, that could get the Titans the best return, and it would be the simplest move that the Titans could make. But there are other players on this team who the Titans need to consider trading. All right. Number one on that list is Nick Folk, the kicker. What is the use of having a 40-year-old kicker when you're not a competitive team? The reason that you want a reliable kicker like Nick Folk is because you're a competitive team who's going to be in close games, and you're going to need a field goal kicker to make sure that you win those and that you get all the points that you possibly can. This team is not going anywhere. They aren't going to be in important games going down the stretch of the season. It's not important. All right. The Titans would be better off to start to look for their kicker of the future at this point in the season. And if you could get a 6th round or a 7th round pick back for Nick Folk, again, a guy who's going to be 41 next year, is going to be a free agent after the year, who probably either A, isn't coming back to the Titans, or wouldn't make any sense to bring back to the Titans next year. You absolutely trade him. And look at all the teams that are struggling with kicker. Look at the Buffalo Bills. Look at the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean? Like, the Titans absolutely would have a market for Nick Folk. It makes no sense whatsoever for them to keep him on this roster. It doesn't. 1-6, and you're going to keep your 40-year-old kicker around. It does not make any sense whatsoever. So Nick Folk is number one. This one hurts me. All right. This one hurts me. But Radunz. He's going to be again, think about the contract. Radunz is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He's going to be a free agent. What are the odds that the Tennessee Titans re-sign Radunz? I don't think they're super high. I don't. The Titans already paid Lloyd Cushenberry. The Titans are probably going to have to go out and sign a free agent right tackle and make sure that they actually address that position. So if you have a high-priced center and you have a high-priced right tackle, you're going to have to pay Peter Skoronski in 2 years if you want to keep him around. I do not think that the Titans should be paying Radunz after the year. Especially, he's played pretty well so far. So a team looking for offensive line help, if they would give up a 5th round pick for Radunz, a 6th round conditional that becomes a 5th round pick with playing time, that would make a ton of sense. And we know that offensive line depth around the NFL is shoddy. All right. So the opportunity to get a starting level guard for a late round pick, and you may be saying, I hate when people say, what's a 5th round pick? What's a 6th round pick? Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was a 5th round pick, right? There were a lot of people out there who were pissed off that the Titans traded Kevin Byard last year. What are we going to do? Or 2 years ago. What are we going to do? No, it was last year. What are we going to do with a 5th and a 6th round pick? This team sucks at drafting. How's that? Well, the Titans got a starting cornerback out of it who played better than L'Jarius Sneed on Sunday. And they got one of the top 10 returners in the NFL right now. So I'm just saying, Ran Carthon can do a lot with a 5th and a 6th round pick. All right. And again, it's not just the pick itself. You can use that pick to move up the board, to get back into the top 100 so that you have multiple picks in there, to move up in the first round if you need to go get your quarterback. It's about having ammo in your gun, not just one bullet. Okay. So to me, it hurts because I've been a Dillon Radunz fan. I think he's a good player. I think it's just crazy to me that the Titans offensive line has been so bad for so many years, but yet Dillon Radunz couldn't get on the field. Just perplexing. But everybody wants to say, oh, I miss Mike Vrabel. Yeah, right. That's dumb. All right. Anyways, that's a topic for a different time. But Dillon Radunz would be a prime candidate, in my opinion, to be traded. He's on the last year of his rookie contract, so he's affordable for a team to go get. Because he's an offensive lineman, that's highly valued. You could probably get a good pick back. Now, there are a couple of people who, obviously I would trade Treylon Burks for a ham sandwich, and I hate ham. So, yeah, you could throw Burks in there, but let's talk about people that could actually get something back for the Titans, not a broken washing machine, which is all that Treylon Burks could maybe get you, a bag of chips. I don't know. It depends on what the bag of chips is. If it's a classic Lay's, I'd probably take the deal. But there are other bags of chips that I probably wouldn't. But either way, we move forward. On the defensive side of the ball, don't put down in the comments, trade Jeffery Simmons. You're out of your mind. Number one, he's far too expensive for any team to trade for Jeffery Simmons mid-season. That's not happening. And you build the defense around Jeff and T'Vondre Sweat. So get that out of here. Now, two people who do make some sense, though. Number one, Quandre Diggs. Quandre Diggs is on a cheap deal. He's here for a good time, not a long time. He's played very well this year for the Titans. I'm going to say no to a Quandre Diggs deal. I think bringing him in and having him enjoy his time in Tennessee would be good for the Titans. I think Hopkins has enjoyed his time in Tennessee. It wouldn't be bad for the Titans to trade Hopkins. It would actually be good for the Titans because they would be doing him a favor. But with Quandre Diggs, he came here on a 1-year deal, probably because Jamal Adams was already here. They're having trouble with Jamal Adams already, which I could have told you that. He's not only a bad player, but he's not a great guy either, which I said when they signed him. But I don't think that Quandre Diggs is going to get you enough in a trade to make it worth it for the Titans. And the last name that I want to mention is Harold Landry. And Harold Landry is on the last year of his contract. Not the last year of his contract, but the last year with guaranteed money. But here's the reality. Landry is still young enough that I want to keep him around. Landry can help the team next year. And he'll be cheaper in the next few years because of the lack of guaranteed money. Also, right now, Harold Landry's salary is pretty high. And that makes it difficult to trade him mid-season, as I already explained, with Jeffery Simmons. So I'm saying no to Quandre Diggs, no to Harold Landry, and obviously no to Jeffery Simmons. That's stupid. But yes to Nick Folk, yes to Dillon Radunz, and obviously, as we covered at the beginning, yes to DeAndre Hopkins. But I got a Rollins rant for you guys on Will Levis's regression, which I think if we're honest with each other, isn't really real at all. Before I get into it, I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, Titans fans, yes, Titans fans, I'm talking to you. You can start the second quarter of the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you go to FanDuel. You can check out the latest stats. You can also view live play-by-play and so much more on the same exact page where you place your bets. And right now on FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And if you want a $5 bet, the Buffalo Bills -8.5 against the Titans this weekend, hammering that one. Make sure that you go to America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel at FanDuel.com. Titans fans, let's continue and cap off today's edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. We talked about the wide receiver trades that happened in the NFL on Tuesday and why DeAndre Hopkins needs to be next in that list. We also talked about some other assets the Tennessee Titans could part ways with to get back some draft picks. You guys need to accept reality. This season is over. The Tennessee Titans are going to be 1-6, 2-5 if they're lucky. They're not making the playoffs. It's time to sell off assets. But with that being said, we need to have a discussion. I got a little bit of a Rollins rant for you guys. I think we all need to accept something. And there are going to be a lot of you out there who say, I knew this all along. I tried to tell you guys. Okay, great. You're right. And your team sucks because of it. So congratulations. You're right. Your team sucks. Awesome. Good job. Okay. But a lot of people have been asking me, and I've seen a lot of conversation online about why has Will Levis regressed under Brian Callahan. A lot of people who are mad at Brian Callahan and blaming Brian Callahan are asking that question. Why has Will Levis regressed under Brian Callahan? He's supposed to be a QB guru, supposed to fix the offense, blah, blah, blah. Why is Will Levis worse this year than he was last year? And the answer to that question is he hasn't regressed in the way that you're saying. He hasn't regressed in the way of he's worse this year than he was last year. I don't believe that that's the case. Where he has regressed, and again, shout out to my guy F Words, Zach Lyons. He pointed this out. He made this point, and I think it's fantastic. So I bring it to you now and double down. The place where Will Levis has regressed is back to the mean. Go watch the tape last year. Will Levis, or look at the analytics if you want. Turnover-worthy plays. If you're not aware of this stat, then it's hard for me to have any conversations with you about stuff. You know what I mean? Turnover-worthy plays, Will Levis was at the top of the NFL. He got lucky last year that he didn't have more interceptions. He didn't have more lost fumbles. He didn't have more catastrophes. Will Levis put himself in bad situations all year last year in his starts, but he got lucky that the turnover-worthy plays didn't convert to turnovers as much as they should have. So Will Levis has not regressed in terms of he is a worse player right now than he was last year. Last year, he got luckier on his bad plays. He was more lucky last year that his bad plays didn't turn into actual turnovers. But he was at the top of the league in his games for turnover-worthy plays. So outside of the Atlanta game and outside of the Miami game, Will Levis was mostly a bad quarterback. And look, the part of this, why it's hard to get people to admit this, why it's hard for all of us to sit down and admit that Will Levis hasn't gotten worse. Will Levis is still just who Will Levis is we let a couple of, and I am guilty. I am admitting my guilt to you right now. I am guilty, but I'm willing to admit it. And you need to be willing to look yourself in the mirror and admit it too. We got too hopeful. We saw the good plays against Atlanta, against Miami, a couple of throws here and there, and we said, oh my God, this guy is the future. We had hope. We wanted to believe. We wanted to hope that we had a franchise quarterback finally, and we wanted to hope that Will Levis could improve and Will Levis could get rid of some of the bad plays and continue some of the good. The problem is we ignored all the bad in that process. So Will Levis hasn't regressed. Will Levis isn't worse this year than he was last year. No, Will Levis is still Will Levis. We are the problem. We are the problem. We overhyped his good plays and we ignored all of the bad stuff that was on tape because it didn't turn into statistical turnovers. Although the mistakes, the lack of reading progressions, the lack of being able to read a defense, the risky opportunities that he would take, it was all there on tape. And me included, we ignored it because we wanted to have hope. And now, because we feel that we were wrong, we don't want to admit that we were wrong about Levis. We want to blame Brian Callahan when it's not actually Brian Callahan's fault. And I have people say to me, well, he's not throwing the ball down the field anymore. But it's not because Brian Callahan isn't calling plays to throw the ball down the field. I posted the quote yesterday and we talked about it. Brian Callahan said, quote, there are definitely calls to go down the field that don't get thrown down the field. Why is Will Levis not throwing the ball down the field and taking the chances that he took last year? Why? It's because he is broken from making stupid mistakes at the beginning of the year. He doesn't want to take those risks anymore because he feels bad and has lost his confidence because of the stupid turnovers he had at the beginning of the season. And those stupid turnovers, the flick six against Chicago, the underhanded fumble against the Jets, the bad interception against the Dolphins, the pick six against the Packers, those aren't Brian Callahan's fault. Will Levis's confidence is shot because of stupid stuff Will Levis has done, not bad play calling. So Will Levis has not regressed. Will Levis is the same player he was last year. He just didn't have as bad of results last year because people dropped the interceptions, because his own players got on the fumbles. Will Levis has not regressed as a player. Will Levis's bad has regressed back to the mean of being as bad as it should have been. He got lucky last year with a lot of the bad decisions and plays that he made. He is not getting lucky this year, and it makes people think that he is worse when really he's just the same guy he was last year and the same guy that he was in college. And what we need to admit is we were wrong. We were wrong. And I know that there are going to be people in the comments, I wasn't wrong. I told you guys all along. Tyler, if you would have listened to me, if I would have, I tried to tell. Okay, congrats. You're right, and now the Titans suck. So congrats, I guess. But to those of you who want to continue to blame Brian Callahan and say that Will Levis has regressed under Brian Callahan, that is not reality. It's not Brian Callahan who is at fault for this. It's you and me and mostly Will Levis. We got too hype. We overrated what he did last year. And now our expectations were far too high. And he's just the same guy he always was. And it's disappointing and it hurts. That is the truth of this situation. That is the facts. Whether you choose to accept it or not is on you. But all I can do is tell you the truth and what the film is showing me. So I'll admit my faults if you do too. With that being said, though, that is going to do it for today's episode. Crossover Thursday with the Buffalo Bills. Tomorrow, Game Plan Friday, last show of the week, and then live here on the Locked On Titans YouTube channel immediately after the game ends on Sunday. But make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed, throw a thumbs up on the video, tighten up down in the chat. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.